and I am the Financial Education Coordinator here at LAPFCU. You will also be joined today by Ron Guzman. He is our VP of Lending, as well as Chad Baker. And we're going to be talking a little bit to all of them, and you'll get additional information on them a little bit later in this presentation. What we're going to cover today is the home buying process, finding a home, choosing the right realtor, the different types of financing that are available to you, qualifying for a loan, as well as first-time home buyers program. So let's get started on your first step. Buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions that you will ever make. You have a lot of different options that are available to you, and tonight we're going to go ahead and get started on some of those options. We have a program that is one of LAPFCU's one-stop real estate resource for buying or selling a home. With using this resource, you have access to search home listings in the MLS portal, set up alerts for properties that meet your criteria, receive cashback rebates of 20% off of agents' commissions when you buy or sell a home using an approved realtor within the Home Advantage program, as well as access to an exclusive networking specializing in the police family or specialized realtors. So once you find a home, it's important that you look at the location so that you're comfortable with the location, because you can find a beautiful home. However, you do want to make sure that you pay attention to the demographics and it's somewhere that you really want to live, because again, this is a huge investment and it's one of the biggest decisions that you will ever make. So drive around your potential neighborhoods, visit the area that you're interested in during the day, night, as well as weekends. Just to kind of see how the traffic is in that area. I remember that when I purchased my home, around the time that we were going to buy, we actually went trick-or-treating in the area just to get, familiarize ourselves with the community, to see if there were kids in the area, things like that. So find what interests you and just make sure that you look at your area. View demographic information, crime rates, things like that within an area, population, how close the schools are, what schools are close to the home that you're interested in. You can look online at MLS.com, which is a foreclosure search tool, and you may need to register for that. However, we have made it very simple for you here as well by going on to our Home Advantage program, which I'll explain to you in just a moment, which offers all of the features of MLS.com and many more. In addition to that, you will receive a free home buying guide, which is provided to you after enrolling into the Home Advantage program, and this is at no obligation whatsoever. So, how does it all work? Well, in order to get registered with the Home Advantage program, you would just need to register online. It's fast and simple. You will receive immediate access to resources. You can connect to a realtor, and so you can select a realtor that speaks a certain language and a certain demographic area. So you really do have a lot of say in what you do in this area. Apply for an LAPFCU mortgage, and you also can receive a rebate once your loan closes. So to get started with the Home Advantage program, you're going to access our homepage at lapfcu.org, and you're going to click on the Home Advantage icon. So over to the left, you will see that there are tabs when you go on to our lapfcu.org site. You're going to click on the Real Estate Center. You're then going to notice that there's an icon for the Home Advantage program. Once you click on that icon, your next step is to click on the Home Advantage link. So if you take a look to the right side of your screen, you have the Home Advantage link. You'll click on that. At this time, it'll take you to another page. You're going to simply click on Enroll. There has a continued button there. So basically it's a third-party site disclaimer because it will take you to the Home Advantage program site. You're going to click continue to enroll into the program. Enrolling into the program is quick and easy. You simply would input all of your information to register, so your first name, last name, email address, which will also serve as your user ID. You'll create your own password and then retype your password. You will then select your credit union affiliation. So for this one, in the drop-down box, I've selected the Los Angeles Police Federal Credit Union. It will then ask you for a primary phone number, the type of phone that it is, so if it's your cell phone, your work phone, etc., and your time frame for receiving callbacks, because they will actually contact you if you're looking for a realtor. It'll ask if you are buying or selling, because we're referring to this webinar as a first-time home buyer. You'll go ahead and click on buy, and it'll ask you, do you already have an agent? Again, if you do not have an agent, you will just simply click on no and you will be contacted. And enroll with your name, email, and phone number, which is the information that I just went over, and then you will click submit. So for this demo, I went ahead and I registered myself for the program. It'll say hello along with your first name that you registered under. It'll welcome you to the Home Advantage program portal, and it'll give you different information as far as what you can do within the portal. Now, if you are searching for a home, so after you go through your navigation tab, you can visit the Search for Homes tab. So at the very top, you'll have Search for Homes, Sell a Home, etc. You're going to click on the one that says Search for a Home, and that will bring you to the following page. You will select a state. In this case, we're looking in the state of California. And I'm trying to find a home within Southern California. So once I select the state and my metro area of interest, it will then ask for additional information, including the price range. So for example, here it says $450,000, which is probably average price right now for a lot of homes that are out there, but select your price range, the lowest amount to the highest amount. If you don't have a low amount, that's fine. Your highest amount will suffice for this area too. The type of home, are you looking for a single family home? The number of bedrooms that you're inquiring about, total number of baths. The city, you can select various cities. You don't have to just select one. By holding the control key down, you can select by a number of cities within a specific area. Or you can select just the area itself. And again, you can also do that by holding down your control key. The zip code, if you know the actual street number, so you may have seen a house and you're interested in that and you want to see some additional information or pictures, you can put that information in here for the address as well as the county information. And then you will receive a listing of the homes that fit the criteria that you would like to view. Once you scroll through the homes, you can go ahead and click on the home that you are interested in that you would like to view. So this gives you a some high-level information about each of the homes with pricing, type of home that it is, address. And then if you click on a specific home, you'll get additional information such as pictures as well as a little bit more about the house itself. You'll also find information regarding the history, trends, household composition, schools, weather, transportation, crime rates, water, as well as air quality. So this is a very good tool to use if you're looking to buy your first home. A lot of you, if you have gone out looking for a home, you know it's really hard nowadays to get into a house. especially if one, whether it's brand new or if it's occupied any way. A lot of times a realtor can be your best help for those. If you do not have your own realtor, you can go ahead and do a find a realtor search. So just like you clicked on search for homes, you can go ahead and click on the tab that says that states find a realtor. From this area here, you can then select the state that you would like the realtor to be in and the specific area. For this one, I chose Lake Balboa, but again, it's very open. I know we have people from all over California that are on the line. So pick an area that you're interested in, a realtor that is close by. If you know a specific agent that you'd like to work with, go ahead and enter that agent's first name, last name as well. If you are more comfortable speaking another language and you feel more comfortable with a realtor that you can communicate with more freely and easily, go ahead and select a language that you feel comfortable with, and then go ahead and click on search. Once you do that, you will end up getting a list, just like you received a list for the homes. You'll get a list of realtors from your selected search. Again, you're looking for a realtor in here that fits your criteria. I'd suggest that you kind of get familiar with the different realtors that are out there. Make sure that you're comfortable. You can find a lot of information. You can contact the agent, add them to your favorites, ask about the agent and view details. There are a number of different ways that you can reach out to someone on the Home Advantage program. And one of the ways you can do is email or chat. So at the very top, you have a phone icon. That is for you to contact them with their phone number that's listed there as well. You also have the your self-serve where you can search for homes yourself. You can also email them at service@mycuhomeadvantage.com. You can also click on the chat icon to chat directly with the representative. Selecting contact agent will actually have an agent contact you with a call back within 24 hours. So that's why they ask for your phone number or email address, things like that, because they will be contacting you. And whenever you're looking for a realtor, we were talking about those rebates earlier, you're making sure that they have this little R to the right of the realtor sign. That shows that you are with a licensed realtor. It's someone that we that's highly recommended. And again, this is how you would get those rebates on the closing costs. Once your loan closes, it needs to be a realtor that has that small R to the right of the realtor section. Your realtor will be able to provide you with comps, okay, so homes that have sold in your area. And this is important because when you make an offer, a lot of times houses sell for a certain amount, but when you make an offer, your realtor, with providing you with those comps, can explain to you and talk to you about making an offer that's too low. Making too low of an offer, you may be flat out rejected, because it's almost insulting to make an offer that is entirely too low when the comps in the area, you've had homes that are selling for much more than that are not comparable. Making an offer that's too high, you might be paying too much for a home. And they also may receive a counter offer from other potential buyers that have viewed the house as well. So having a realtor is definitely a plus with them working in that field and being able to look at the comps in the area and tell you what is a good amount for you to actually send out to them. Ask yourself the following when making an offer on the home. How much do you love that home? And how much can you afford? Okay, and these are some other things, again, that your realtor can talk to you about. Sometimes it's not the best idea to just go for the first home that you see and you feel like you love that house unless you really, truly love that house. Again, this is an investment that is huge, and we want you to be happy with the choice that you make because, again, this is going to be your home. And again, your realtor can help you to decide. So, good news is once you purchase your home, what's the process? Your offer is accepted. Once that happens, you'll provide a deposit. Escrow is then opened, and what escrow is you have an amount of money that is from a neutral third party. They hold those funds until all of the conditions are met within your loan. And again, your realtor can go over this a little bit more with you, but it's still funds that you'll be using, but again, they'll be holding those funds until all the conditions are met. You will receive escrow instructions, and then escrow coordinates the closing with all of the parties involved. Once that happens, you complete the paperwork, you receive your estimated closing costs. A property appraisal is done as well as a property inspection. They want to make sure that you're getting into a home that is free of, for example, termites, things like that. This again is a big decision that you're making, and this is your home. So we want to make sure that everything is taken care of. Do they have the carbon monoxide monitors within the home? Things that are needed when you buy a home. Insurance, you'll need to have insurance for your home. The docs are then drawn, papers are signed, and what you've been waiting for, you'll be able to get those keys and move in. Now this is all the high-level overview of purchasing the home, but at this time I'm going to turn the floor over to our own Ron Guzman, who again is our Vice President of Lending, and he is going to go over some additional information on buying a home. Ron?
Thank you, Myra. Good evening. I actually have two goals tonight for you. One is to provide useful information and hopefully be able to educate. And two, I want to be respectful of your time. Therefore, I'm going to move probably fairly quickly. But I'm going to offer you my telephone number as well as my email address, because if tomorrow or at a later time you have a question, please feel free to either contact me by telephone or by email. My direct telephone line is 818-779-3313. Again, 818-779-3313. And my email is rguzman, Guzman, at lapfcu.org. Please feel free to call me at any time. Let's first start by discussing what this year's market is going to look like or is looking like, as well as what's happening with interest rates. The market right now does not have a lot of inventory, so it's forcing prices to stay high, unfortunately. Buyers are out there. Buyers are not willing to pay the higher prices, so as a whole, the market is fairly stagnant right now. Interest rates have gone up from this time last year, but they are not completely out of line. Interest rates for a conforming 30-year loan is about anywhere from 4.25% to 4.5%, and that's actually a very decent and reasonable rate. If you're looking at short sales or foreclosures, I am not a fan of purchasing short sales or foreclosures. As Myra indicated, we recommend that you work with a realtor that you trust and can guide you. If you are truly a first-time home buyer, it is my recommendation that you not pursue a short sale or a foreclosure, because you really need to know what you're getting into. But again, a realtor and someone that you feel is competent can guide you in that area. We'll be talking about renting versus buying, loan points, PMI, about an application checklist, and some advantages at looking at loans with LAPFCU. If you'll see the next slide, there's some features and benefits regarding renting and buying. Both of them work. There is absolutely nothing wrong with renting, but there are other benefits that might far exceed renting by purchasing. One of the things I would recommend is that you talk with your accountant, and if you don't have one, find an accountant that can guide you. that can look at your entire financial situation and recommend if it is to your benefit to buy long term. People sometimes get confused with pre-qualifying and pre-approving. Most lenders and sellers want to see what's called a pre-approval letter. A pre-qualification letter is a quick down and dirty review of some information that you put when you initially apply. They'll look at certain guidelines and turn around and issue a pre-qual. A pre-approval is pretty much close to a full underwrite. You have to supply verification of income and assets, and a credit report is generated. And when a lender generally issues a pre-approval, they'll do it with an actual letter, and it's a letter that you can hand the sellers and show them that you do qualify in being able to purchase the property that you're currently looking at. Some lending programs require what's called private mortgage insurance, also known as PMI. PMI is actually insurance that protects the lender, but it is an insurance that the purchaser or the buyer pays for. PMI is required on loans when it has a loan-to-value greater than 80%. There are some programs out there, though, that do waive PMI. We actually have one, and I'll be talking about that shortly. There's really two types of loans. There's a fixed rate where you know what your monthly payment is for the term that you select, and generally you can select anywhere from 5 years up to 30 years if you select a fixed rate program. Also, there's adjustable rate mortgages, which is also known as an ARM. An ARM is not a bad three-letter word. ARM loans actually, believe it or not, are very, very good under the right circumstances, as a fixed rate is. We are currently offering an amazing ARM loan program that is geared towards first-time home buyers as well as individuals that may not have a full 20% down. Our program waives the PMI, and it's based off of FICO. If you have a FICO score anywhere between 620 and 739, we will take the loan to value up to 85%. If you have a FICO greater than 740, we will go up to 90%. Let me give you an example of how good this ARM loan will work. Our ARM loan program is actually going to feature the 3-1 ARM rate, which is significantly lower than the 5 ARM rate, and it's currently today at 3.125. The conventional 30-year mortgage is at 4.375, so you can see the difference. So if you were to take out or purchase a home at $278,000 and you got a 90% loan, that would be $250,000. Your monthly payments would be approximately $1,071 for the first 5 years. It's fixed. If you make all 60 payments, all 5 years, you're actually going to pay down the principal $27,300. Property generally increases an average of about 3% a year. That's a good, moderate growth. So over the 5 years, the home that you purchased at $278,000 is going to grow each year 3%. At the end of the 5 years, that 90% loan to value went down to 69%. So it's really a great, great product. Don't be afraid of ARM loans. But again, work with your realtors or work with trusted individuals that can guide you whether if a fixed rate or an ARM loan is right for you. We offer many different types of lending programs. I think we have about 18 different types of residential lending programs. You'll hear terms like a conforming loan. A conforming loan is really the limit as to how high the lender can go, and that's $417,000 or under. There are jumbo loans that go from $417,001 up to $625,000. And then there are super jumbo loans that are greater than $625,001. There's also equity loans and fixed rate seconds. These are most commonly known as just second liens. And they're also great programs. If you are currently a home buyer and you are a homeowner and you have equity in your property and you need to do home improvements or things to that nature, it is a great program to look at a home equity and or a fixed rate second. And there's also government programs like FHA, VA, and reverse mortgages. We have an individual, Chad Baker, who's going to be discussing that in a minute. When you're looking for your loan, you'll hear terms also as what is known as points. If you pay points, I recommend that you check again with your accountant to see if some of these points may be tax deductible. But I recommend that before you pick a lender, that you call about 3 to 5 lenders. Have a piece of paper for each lender and ask them the same questions so you can compare like to like. Don't only focus on the rate. You may get a lender that has a lower rate but is charging higher points. And those higher points can actually cost you more than if you took the higher rate loan. So do your homework, call different lenders, and don't only shop for rate and points. Also look at fees. Fees add up. I'll give you an example. Here at LAPFCU, for a purchase transaction, our fees for the origination as well as the settlement come to $1,200. We do a study of our competitors as well as other financial institutions, and we find that our nearest competitor charges $1,800. And the financial institutions usually start around $2,000. Sometimes you'll see programs where they're waiving the origination costs, but you also have to really dive into the program to make sure that they're not charging points or that the interest rate isn't so far out of reach because they're making up the loss of income either through the interest rate or through the points. Some home buying tips that we've have documented here I think are really important. Probably the one that's most important is while you are going through the application process, do not incur any new additional debt. Lenders are required to run a credit report when you first apply, and they also have to run a credit report at the time of funding. And if your debt ratio or you've been out incurring additional debt, it can actually throw your qualifications out of whack, and at the last minute it can throw you out of guidelines, and all of a sudden you're in a situation where you don't have loan approval. So make sure that you're communicating with your lender. Make sure that if you do happen to incur additional debt during the application process, that you communicate with your lender so they can update your application and review your file to make sure that you still stand within guidelines. As indicated, we have here at LAPFCU about 18 different programs to offer you. We hope that you consider us. We have a very easy online application. It also provides a lot of information. If you have any questions at a later date, I've given you my contact information. Please feel free to call me at any time. Thank you.
Okay, at this time I'm going to give the floor to Chad Baker, who is our FHA. He talks about FHA financing. He is our senior mortgage consultant. So Chad, are you ready?
Well, thank you, Myra, and thank you, Ron. Good evening, everybody. As Ron had just mentioned, through the credit union, the members have access not only to the conventional loan programs offered there, but you also have loan programs such as the government programs available to you as well. And that's going to be USDA loans, reverse mortgages, VA mortgages, and FHA as well. In the interest of time, we will be focusing tonight on FHA, as it tends to be a very popular program for the first-time buyer. Some of the topics we'll talk about FHA will be the loan amounts and loan-to-values, or LTVs, the different down payments and closing cost requirements, mortgage credit eligibility, property, and the general benefits of FHA financing. In purchase transactions with an FHA loan, the maximum base loan amount for a purchase is going to be 96.5%. So basically, you're just taking your sales price or the appraised value, multiply that by 96.5%, and that would be the loan amount, the FHA base loan amount. So what that means is a 3.5% down payment. It's the lowest down payment option available out there for financing, with exception to the VA program. The VA program actually offers 100% financing. But if for FHA, we're looking at a 3.5% down. With regards to the maximum loan amounts, being a government program, there are limits, and these limits are set forth by county averages. And here in California, luckily, we have the highest averages in the country. We've listed the most common surrounding the credit union there for you: LA and Orange counties, the maximum FHA loan amount. And mind you, this is for a single-family residence, a one-unit home. If we're looking at multiple units, that dollar amount actually increases. But for single-family or one-unit properties, that max amount would be $625,500. In LA and Orange County. In Ventura, that would be $598. Other surrounding counties have different limits, but these are probably the most common here. Now, for the credit eligibility, what we will be taking a look at in order to approve a buyer or a member for an FHA program. First thing, income and employment. We will be taking a look at the employment, and it must be verified for 2 full years. And as far as employment, we can count education in specialty or professional fields, such as if, let's say, an officer achieved a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, or we have an individual that has recently obtained a nursing degree. And obviously, those careers sometimes take 2, 3, maybe even 4 years of education before an individual has their employment lined up. You could be on the job for only 6 months, but if you were in school for 18 months, or basically a year and a half, we can count that as 2 full years of experience. One thing I'd like to point out as well, as far as that 2-year history, employment history, it does not have to be the most recent 24 months. And sometimes I think that's almost a misnomer out there, where people feel they have to be working on the same job for 2 years. You could have been in the same line of work or even had educational classes 3, 4, 5 years ago, and maybe have not had employment for the last year. That's okay. It's a cumulative 2 years that we just have to establish, and that is sufficient enough for the FHA program. What we will use as far as income and qualifying will be your base salary or hourly. If there are any overtime or bonus monies that you earn, we do have to show a history of receiving that for at least a minimum of 22 months, and the fact that it will be likely to continue. And if so, we can count that bonus, overtime, any sort of other differential pay in the qualifying as well. Now, reserves are basically money in the bank after escrow closes, savings, if you will, money to fall back on. Certain loan programs out there do require a certain amount of reserves after closing. FHA does not. FHA does not require any sort of reserves, provided we're looking at a 1 or 2 unit property. If we're looking at 3 or 4 units, however, then we are looking at having 3 months worth of the housing expense and savings, basically to fall back on there. Ron mentioned earlier the PMI, or mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance. FHA has their own version of this, and there's actually 2 forms that FHA has through the Department of HUD, Housing and Urban Development. The first is what they call an upfront mortgage insurance premium. It's a one-time premium that can either be paid at closing via cash, or out of pocket, or even maybe a credit from the seller, depending on how you negotiate the terms of the sale, or it can be financed. And that upfront premium is 1.75% of the loan amount. It has no impact on the loan to value or your down payment. And financing such a small percentage of the loan really makes an insignificant difference to the payment versus coming up with that money out of pocket. So 99% of the time, individuals will finance the mortgage insurance premium. On top of that, the traditional mortgage insurance, or the annual mortgage insurance that is collected on a monthly basis, FHA now has the premium there of 1.35%, and that gets broken down monthly. The mortgage insurance, and this is something brand new, or relatively new, it's actually as of June of last year, HUD has made a change in that the mortgage insurance will remain on the loan for the life of that loan, provided if there is less than a 10% down payment. So if we're looking at a minimum down, being 3.5% down payment, that PMI will remain on the loan for the life. If there is a 10% or more down payment, then it is eligible to be removed. However, it has to remain on the loan for a minimum of 11 years. After the 11 years, provided we can establish a 20% or more equity position on the home, then that mortgage insurance is removed. Once the PMI is removed, regardless of the program type, whether it be a conventional loan or one of the government programs, once the PMI is gone, it is gone for good. One of the great benefits about FHA is that it allows gift monies. 100% of the borrowers or buyers' cash investment is completely acceptable. And gifts, they typically come from a relative, employers, charitable organizations. There are also government agencies that provide homeowners assistance and down payment assistance programs. These all work in conjunction with and are eligible for the FHA program. There can be the gift money, there can be no expected or implied repayment of that. We actually do draft a letter both for the donor and you as the buyer to sign and execute, basically stating that no repayment of that money is required. And there are a few ways for gift monies to come into the transaction. If the funds have already been given, from the donor to you as the buyer, well, we basically have to create a paper trail of that money, and that tends to open up the books on, well, the donor and you as the buyer. And personally, in my opinion, it can be a little intrusive, especially if it's family monies, etc. Other methods of getting gift monies into the equation and into escrow can be either by certified check into escrow, but you'll see there we've highlighted or bolded wire transfer. If anyone does have any gift funds coming into a purchase transaction, I would like to just highly encourage everyone, please remember, please consider doing it as a wire transfer. The wire transfer process, provided it comes directly from the donor and goes straight to escrow, so that it basically never passes your hands as the buyer, so straight from the donor directly to escrow, then that will require the least amount of documentation. It's not as intrusive, especially to those family members and those donors. We don't have to open up the books on everybody, so to speak. So it's the most friendly, least intrusive, and also the quickest way to handle any sort of gift funds in the transaction. Keep in mind that last line there, cash on hand is not an acceptable source of gift monies. And when we say cash on hand, whether that be mattress money, money saved up in the coffee tins, etc., it's unacceptable, unfortunately, and that mainly has to do with, well, because we cannot create a paper trail on that, and that is one thing that the government sure likes to do, have a paper trail of monies. As for the credit requirements, a credit history is required. We do have to establish some sort of history of credit. The minimum credit score for an FHA loan right now is 620 for all of the borrowers that will be on the loan. A recent change, thankfully, that's opening up the gates a little bit more here, is that the FHA is now allowing what we call non-traditional credit once again. Items that will show on an individual's credit report, whether it be credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans, etc. That would be traditional credit items, traditional credit history, that's established. If an individual does not have any of those items and does not have that traditional history, that's okay. We can go with the non-traditional underwriting approach, and what that means is we would take a minimum of 3, whether it be bills or some credit that is provided to you, and establish a 12-month history of on-time payments with those accounts. Most commonly, those are going to be things like utilities, phone bills, gas, water, electricity, even rent to a property management group or landlord. So there are ways to establish credit for you if credit is limited. Keep in mind, again, being a government-backed loan, any sort of tax liens, judgments, and government debt that is in default or past due all needs to be brought current or paid prior to closing. With regards to properties, through the FHA purchase process, or well, any purchase process, the property is always going to be appraised. If we're utilizing an FHA program, the appraiser must be FHA approved. And what that means is appraisers have to go through additional training and certification requirements in order to appraise a home that will be used for an FHA loan program. Some of the items that they really focus on and most common as of late that we see, all properties they must be habitable, completely habitable with no health or safety concerns. All the appliances, plumbing, electrical, etc., all utilities, they must be functional and in good working condition. If there are any health or safety concerns in the property, then the lender will always require that those are remedied prior to the closing. So if anything is pointed out by that appraiser that poses any health or safety concerns, in your protection, we cannot allow that to close, and we'll make sure that those items are taken care of. Most commonly, those are taken care of by the seller. Property flipping, we mentioned briefly here, and this is not for individuals to purchase a home and flip a property. Rather, it's to bring to everyone's attention that any homes out there that have been flipped or have had investors come in and remodel and or upgrade homes, they are eligible now. There used to be a 90-day waiting period once that home was purchased and remodeled by, say, a corporation, LLC, investment group, or even an individual. There was actually a waiting time before that property could be sold again and have any sort of conventional or FHA financing, and that is no longer the case. Those properties that are out there are completely eligible now. Termite inspection, it is not required unless it's part of the purchase contract and your purchase agreement with the seller. If it is in the contract, then we will enforce the contract. However, termite inspection is not a requirement for FHA. And last bit there for property, manufactured housing is not allowed. So that's a common question, so we want to bring that to your attention as well. So just to summarize the key benefits of the FHA program, aside again from the VA program with 100% financing, FHA allows the least amount of a down payment, 3.5% down. Gift monies are completely allowed. 100% gift monies are allowed. One other key benefit of an FHA program, while rates are very low right now, is that the FHA program is one of the very few, if maybe the only, loan program out there that is an assumable loan. What that means is if you obtain, let's say just for example, a 30-year fixed rate at 4% when you purchase this home, 2 years from now, or 3, 4, 5 years from now, you decide to sell, and maybe interest rates are at 10, 12%. Hopefully not, but if they are, you have a 4% rate on that home. And if the market has skyrocketed with regards to interest rates, you can actually sell that property and transfer that 4% rate to your seller. They obviously have to go through the qualification process, but that would make your property a much more attractive home compared to an equal dollar figure on say a neighbor's or surrounding home with the going rate at 10%. So basically, it's a transferable loan. Last item we'd like to bring to your attention is that non-occupant, meaning a person that will not be living or residing in the home, they can go on the application as a co-borrower to help qualify or help you qualify to purchase and become approved for that property.
Okay, so I would like to thank Chad. At this time, we're going to open the floor up for questions. If you have a question, please type your question in the box located underneath your name, and we'll do our best to go ahead and answer those questions in the couple of minutes that we have left. Okay, so we have a question here. When shopping for a lender, is it harmful to you, meaning your credit, to have multiple lenders run your credit report?
I'll be happy to answer that. Every time your credit report is run, it does have an effect on FICO. How big an effect, no one can tell you other than FICO. There are members that double app, sometimes triple app. So if you decide to do that, it's not a recommended practice, but you certainly can do it. But you do need to be aware that you have two lenders requiring pretty much close to the same documentation, including pulling your credit report. And your credit report will be pulled, could be pulled twice, if not more, based on the length of time it takes to close the transaction. So they'll pull it at the beginning of the transaction. They'll pull it at the end of the transaction. If the transaction takes longer than 90 days, then a credit report is expired, so they'll need to pull new credit reports.
Okay. We have another question. If you owe student loans or income tax but are currently paying on it, can you still qualify for an FHA loan? Chad, can you answer that one?
Happily, thank you. For student loans, if they are in repayment, we will qualify based on the monthly figure or the monthly payment you're making. If they are in deferment, if we can establish they're in deferment for a minimum of 12 months beyond the close of escrow, then we do not include them in the qualifying ratio.
Okay, thank you.
As far as taxes, or I think that was income taxes, if, let's say, we're taxed on any sort of taxes, whether it be federal or state, it would be, as long as we can establish some sort of payment arrangement has been made with the federal government or with the state government, and show a payment plan in place with a minimum of 3 monthly payments or 3 monthly installments having been made for the term, we're good to go.
Okay, thanks, Chad. Another question coming from Matthew is, I bought my house as a single man and later married and refiled as married sole owner. Are there current first-time buyer benefits that my wife can sign up for?
I'll take that. Matt, it depends on the type of actual loan program. If it's a specific program that says it's for first-time home buyers only, then it appears that your wife may not qualify. But it doesn't hurt to call the lenders and ask. For our program here at the credit union, it would not make a difference. But there are programs out there that are specifically tied to first-time home buyers, and because she was added, or you did refinance the property, and you added her to the loan, it will show her as a homeowner, and it may disqualify her as a first-time home buyer. But I recommend that you call the lender once you identify the program that you're looking at.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
The next one is, how long is the approval good for? Generally, an approval is good for approximately 90 days. The next one is, so credit reports are good for, yes, credit reports generally are also good for 90 days. And the reason is credit changes on a monthly basis. So we have to make sure that we are obtaining updated credit reports to show a true picture when the loan funds. Next one is, there is an echo. I can't understand him. Sorry, Sharon, I'm not sure about the echo, but if you have any questions, you're welcome to call me. Again, my name is Ron Guzman, and my phone number is 818-779-3313. What's that one say?
It says, is commission pay treated differently than base pay when trying to determine how much of a loan you qualify for, assuming commission pay is consistent every month?
That's a great question. Commission pay is averaged over a time period, generally over 12 or 24 months. So if you have consistent commission pay, they will do an average. To calculate an income.
Okay.
Do we have any more?
It looks like that's it. Okay, we want to thank you very much for joining us for this webinar tonight. Again, you have Ron's contact information. My name is Myra Kasuk. I'll be sending you out a follow-up email within the next day or two, just to kind of, see if you have any questions or you need any assistance with the Home Advantage program. And again, I want to thank Ron and also Chad for assisting with this webinar today. We thank you all very much, and we are very appreciative as you as our members. Thank you. Could we get the PowerPoint presentation? I'm going to send the PowerPoint presentation.
Sure thing.